and I saw the flames jumping up and down.
You see it there. We begin at 5 o'clock here with frightening moments in southeast Portland. A fire broke out along southeast Hawthorne today that destroyed 4 businesses, including the Lounge Lizard Vintage Store. This is a live look from Sky 8 right now. A small explosion also sent 2 firefighters to the hospital.
Joe Ranieri's been covering the fire all day long for us. He joins us with the latest. Joe, was anyone inside when that fire broke out?
Oh, good evening to you, Deanna Laurel. Luckily, there was nobody inside the building when this fire broke out earlier this afternoon, but we have learned within the last 5 minutes or so that 2 firefighters were injured during this fire after an explosion. Here's some video of that explosion. Thankfully, they're going to be okay. They suffered minor injuries and were taken to a local hospital. Now, the fire quickly took off. Here's some video that a woman took who works across the street. She said once she started seeing the flames, it quickly spread through the building that houses 2 restaurants, a furniture business, and an antique business. Heavy smoke from the fire could be seen from across the city. At one point, the roof collapsed, making it difficult for firefighters to put out the flames, but the concerning part was the electrical lines above.
And then the electric pole caught on fire and started igniting, and they shut that off. And I do know that there was an explosion at the Thai restaurant, and there was a plant inside, and that got knocked out, and a firefighter was knocked down.
Now, again, nobody inside the building during the fire, but again, 2 firefighters were taken to a local hospital after suffering minor injuries. And this section of Hawthorne is expected to be shut down while crews investigate what led up to this fire. You can kind of see they're starting to put out some fencing out in this area. And as we look across the street from that Lebanese restaurant, you can still see the smoke coming from that fire that started several hours ago. We're live in southeast Portland tonight. Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Boy, a dramatic fire and major damage, but we're grateful the injuries weren't more serious. Thank you, Joe. We have an update to that huge police response in Malala yesterday. The man accused of going on a shooting spree, firing at homes and businesses, is facing multiple charges tonight, including attempted murder. He appeared in court today. Our Kylie Boshi's in the newsroom. Kyle, court records give us a better idea of what happened.
Laurel, for now, prosecutors are pushing to keep the defendant behind bars. Bail is set at $1 million. 48-year-old Brian Scott Mills appeared in a Clackamas County courtroom by video this afternoon. Prosecutors say Mills used a high-powered rifle and handgun to shoot at homes and businesses in Malala Monday morning. According to court papers, Mills started shooting through the front window of his own house. He hit a truck as the driver was pulling out of Mills's driveway. Then police say Mills continued shooting across Main Street. One of the bullets went through a neighbor's house and into the room of a 15-year-old girl who was asleep. She's okay. Prosecutors say other rounds went through the window of an unoccupied Malala police car. Here's a prosecutor describing how powerful that weapon was.
But the round goes, just so you have an idea, clear through the back window and then out the other back window. And it literally goes probably about 5 or 6 feet off the ground for 250 to 300 yards into a storage facility clear across the field.
Prosecutors say Mills exchanged gunfire with police before giving up. It's not clear what prompted the shooting. I couldn't find any real criminal history for Mills. He told the judge he works in security, and state records show he runs a business out of his house that does gun and ammo sales.
Got it. Kyle Boshi with the latest. Thank you, sir. A jury has found a member of the Proud Boys guilty for actions stemming from the protests last year. In August, right-wing extremist Alan Swinney was seen pointing a gun at people during a violent clash with Antifa and other groups in downtown Portland. According to court documents, he also sprayed people with mace and shot them with paintballs. Today, a jury found him guilty on several charges, including assault, menacing, and unlawful use of a weapon.
The Oregon Health Authority announced 44 new COVID deaths today. That's the most announced in a long time. It's likely the deaths happened over several days. We're waiting for more details from the state. But it is a sad reminder that we are still in the thick of it. And one thing we've noticed is the waves of infections seem to ramp up for 3 months or so, then quiet down before ramping up again. What's behind that? Is it something about the vaccine or the way we behave? Okay. Peter Graven, a data scientist with OHSU, said it's likely about behavior.
That's, the pattern I've seen. In fact, it's been really interesting. There's been times when even before any policies happen, just through news reporting and other people seeing the case counts, people's behavior would change.
He said as the case counts go down, people relax and are more willing to take part in riskier activities. Then they change when the numbers go back up. He expects infections to keep slowly dropping, in part because so many people got infected over the last 3 months. Officials announced today a Washington woman has died from blood clots related to taking the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. 37-year-old Jessica Berg Wilson is the first such death in Washington and just the 4th nationwide. She died 2 weeks after getting the shot in the Seattle area. Her family submitted an obituary to the Oregonian. She was born in Portland. Earlier this year, the CDC paused its authorization of the J&J vaccine to study blood clot risks. It determined this is an exceedingly rare event and that the benefits of the vaccine far outweigh the risks when compared to the threat of death or hospitalization from COVID.
St. Charles Health System will require visitors to be vaccinated by October 18th, the same day all Oregon healthcare workers are required to also be fully vaccinated. St. Charles says it's doing this to further protect its patients and caregivers during the pandemic. Patients who test positive for COVID-19 are still not allowed any visitors under the new rule, even if visitors show proof of vaccination. Unvaccinated visitors will only be allowed under specific circumstances.
This morning, 2 former Portland Thorns appeared on the Today Show speaking about the scandal surrounding former coach Paul Riley. Mana Shim and Sinead Farley are accusing him of sexual coercion when they played for him in Portland 6 years ago. Since the allegations came out last week, Riley was fired from his current team, the North Carolina Courage, and had his coaching license suspended. Both players called for more justice and protection.
I'm feeling so many emotions. First of all, I'm so just overcome with gratitude at everyone who spoke it out and supported us. He's a predator. He sexually harassed me. He sexually coerced Sinead, and he took away our careers.
It's bigger than the sport. This is about safety in our own lives and our bodies, and the players deserve that. We all deserve that.
Also joining them was former Thorns teammate and former national team captain Alex Morgan. Morgan said at the time there was no anti-harassment policy in place or a way to report it. Riley has denied the allegations.
A capsized boat has been removed from the shore near Rockaway Beach at the Oregon coast. A husband and wife died in an accident Sunday evening. Tim Gordon reports now that it's still unclear what caused this to happen.
The Oregon coast at Nadana Beach is back to beautiful, but this is where a couple and their sailboat washed ashore near the town of Rockaway Beach. The husband and wife did not survive. Late Monday, heavy equipment broke the sailboat into pieces and moved it from the beach. This is the boat before that, intact but on its side in the sand. Sunday afternoon, beach residents knew something was wrong when they heard a Coast Guard helicopter in the air and first responders on the ground.
Oh yeah, it's pretty obvious. Of course, a lot of people saw the sailboat kind of going up and down too close to the waves right before dark. And then, of course, this is Sunday, the football game's on, and then we got helicopters and searchlights flying all around. You know, everybody has to come down here in the dark and see.
Terry Bowman has lived full-time at the coast for 20 years. He also has experience sailing.
My wife and I are both open ocean sailors from the past and know something about this.
Terry says sailing too close to the surf is ill-advised. So far, investigators have not said why the sailboat was in so close. They also have not named the couple, but we heard from 2 sources that they were in their 70s and moving south in their boat.
There's people that knew him or were moored by him in Astoria and said they were a nice couple and knew him that way. And then they were going to move down to California for warmer weather during the winter.
In Rockaway Beach, Tim Gordon, KGW News.